In this tutorial, we'll be going over how you can trace pixel art from images using Inkscape. Now, there is a built-in feature for auto-tracing your pixel art, but it doesn't always produce the desired results. In these instances, it would be good to know how to trace pixel art manually, which we'll be going over in today's tutorial. So getting us started here in Inkscape, the first thing you'll want to do is import the graphic that you'd like to trace over into Inkscape, as you can see that I've done here. Now for this demonstration, I will be using this vector illustration of a fox that I downloaded from 123rf.com. So once you have your graphic imported, let's turn on the grid. Let's come up here to where it says View, and where it says Page Grid, go ahead and select that. Now by default, your grid should be 1 pixel by 1 pixel in size, but we can ensure that by going to Document Properties. So let's come up here to File and go to Document Properties, and then come over here to the Grids tab, and then down here where it says Spacing X and Spacing Y, it should be 1 and 1 by default. If yours isn't 1 and 1, go ahead and change that so that your grid is spaced out 1 pixel by 1 pixel. And the end result of that, if you zoom in, I'm going to hold Control and roll up my mouse wheel. If you zoom in, you could see all of the individual pixels represented by these grid lines here. And we're going to use these grid lines as a reference for tracing over our image. So let me zoom back out here. What I want to do now is take my graphic and scale it down really small. I want to scale it down so small that 1 pixel squares that will seem large in comparison to it. So I'm going to grab the transformation handle here. I'm going to hold Control on my keyboard to lock the proportions. And I'm going to scale this down pretty small. Maybe down to like, I don't know, 150 pixels wide. And you could see what the width is while you're scaling by referencing the toolbar, the tool settings menu towards the top of the screen. So I'm going to set mine right at about 150, and that right there looks good. Now let me zoom in on this. As you can see, these individual squares here, we're going to create boxes that fill these squares in the color of the graphic beneath it, and then it's going to create like a pixel effect beneath it. So let me just reposition this a little bit. I want the tip of the fox's nose here up against this square grid line. There we go. So now let's go ahead and create our initial box. What we want to do first is enable snapping, which is up here, this little magnet icon. Turn that on, and then from this drop-down menu, where it says bounding boxes and nodes, we want those two enabled, but we don't want alignment enabled. That's the settings we want right now. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool, and I'm just going to click and drag like this to create a box. It should snap to the grid lines nice and evenly, as you saw here. And once you've done that, you can disable the node setting in the snapping options. We're going to leave bounding boxes enabled, but for the rest of this tutorial, we're going to leave these two disabled. And now I'm going to take this, I'm going to grab my dropper, I'm going to make this the same color as the fox's nose, like that. And now I'll grab my selection tool and I'll just snap that in there like that. Let me zoom in a little bit. Now to duplicate that, I'm going to press Control D on the keyboard, and I'm going to move this copy over here. And if you want to stamp copies while you're doing this, you could just hold the click and then press the space bar and it'll stamp a copy like that. And I'll put another one down here for the fox's nose like that, and I'll just leave that one there. Okay, so now I'm going to duplicate this again. I'm going to press Control D to duplicate this. I want to make this one the same color as this shade right here. So I'm going to grab my dropper again and go like that. And there we go. Now we have that box. And I'm just going to stamp that in there and try to follow along the lines of the subject here. Although it's not going to be exactly precise, what you're going for is a close representation. It's not going to be exact, but if you just follow along in a rudimentary way, it should look good once you're finished and zoomed out. Okay, so let me put these over here. And again, to stamp these copies, I'm just pressing the space bar on my keyboard to do that. Now, if you notice here, it's hard to see what's actually going on. So what I would recommend doing is clicking on the image and reducing the opacity of it. I'm going to open up the fill and stroke menu, which is located over here. And over here where it says opacity, I'm going to bring that down. And I would even recommend making the page darker than white so that you can see the white boxes when we start creating them. So I'm going to come back to the Document Properties tab, and I'm going to come over here to the Display tab, and where it says Page, I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to make that a darker shade. I'm going to make that maybe something like gray so we can see it a little better. Okay, so let me zoom back in here. Let me create some more boxes to fill in my subject here. I'm going to create the ear right here and use this color. So let me bring the opacity of this image back up so I can sample a better so I can sample that color properly. Back to the fill and stroke menu with the image selected, bring the opacity all the way up, there we go. And let me create a duplicate of this box right here. To move the page around, I'm just pressing down the mouse wheel and moving the mouse. Let me take this one, duplicate that by pressing Ctrl D, and I'll make this a darker shade. Let me grab my dropper tool right here. Make that a darker shade like that. And I may even change these boxes right here to be the same color, just for consistency. Okay, that's a nice contrasting shade compared to the other orange, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Let me make copies in here. Again, just pressing the space bar to stamp copies. There we go. I'll put some copies up here for this part of the ear. There we go. Now what I'm doing right here is I'm not filling in the entire subject. I'm just creating like an outline around the main areas. Let me turn the opacity of that image back down so I can see a little better. There we go. We want to try not to make duplicate copies of squares in those grid lines if possible. There we go. Let me just make an outline here going around the outline of the shading. Okay, looking good. Do this one as well. And don't worry about it being exactly flush with the boundaries of the subject. It's not going to be perfect, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. So let me fill this in a little more. Okay, now I'm going to fill in the ear up here using these colors. Again, Control D to duplicate, and then just click and drag and press down the space bar to stamp copies of it, as you see me doing here. Okay, so now I'm going to start filling in the white area here, and this is where you'll see why it is that I changed the page border, or the page color rather, because it makes it easier to see the white. I'm going to make that box white, and now you can see it much easier up against that backdrop there. You can see exactly where the white boxes, or pixels as they're supposed to be, are being placed. And a little shortcut for filling in these large areas, you don't have to create individual boxes for each of these areas. You could just take one of these transformation handles and bring it down like that. And as you can see, it just fills in the whole area nice and easily without having to create too many other copies. In fact, you could take these existing copies right there and just fill them in like that, as you can see there. Okay, so if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this thing is starting to come together. You could actually take the original image and press delete to get rid of it, just to give you a temporary look at how it's coming along. Now, if you want to get your image back, just do an undo, which is Control Z. Control Z on the keyboard undoes your last action, so it puts it back there. And now I'm just going to go and fill in this part of the shading of the subject here using these darker boxes. Okay, so now that that's filled in, I'm going to fill in this area over here, this part of the darker shading as well. Okay, so as you can see here, it's starting to come along nicely. If I delete this, you can see it's starting to come together a little bit. Still got a ways to go here. I think what I'll do next is I'll fill in this lighter area. I guess this reflection of light on the fox's back right here. Okay, so next up I will fill in the tail here, these three different areas of the tail, and then I will fill in the larger part of the body, and then we will be finished. Okay, so I'm pretty much finished here. I just have to fill in this large area right here, which I could fill in by creating individual boxes, but it would be pretty tedious. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut here and use the Bezier pen to just manually draw a shape and fill it in with the color that would otherwise be filled here. So let me turn off my snapping to do that. I'm going to grab the Bezier pen, and this is a trick you may want to employ yourself depending on the image you're working with. If it has large areas of a single color like this, you may want to do something like this yourself. So let me grab the Bezier pen over here. Keyboard shortcut is B. Let me zoom in on this. And I'm just going to draw a shape going through the edges here that I'm going to use to fill in the rest of this object. And then we will be finished. So let me just come around the edges here like this. There we go. Back to the starting point. And I will make this the same color as the object that I'd like to, the boxes I would have filled in there otherwise. And I can get rid of that outline by holding Shift and clicking on this little X down here. Now I'm going to take this, grab this selection tool, I'm going to send that to the bottom using this button right here, lower selection to the bottom, and then I'm going to raise it one step by clicking this button next to it that says, or two buttons over to the left that says raise selection one step, and now it should be over the original image. Now let me zoom out a little bit. Let me take the original image and move it out of the way. As you can see here, we're pretty much finished. We have our vector pixel art that we created from the vector fox here. Now, if I zoom out, one more thing I wanted to point out. Let's turn off the page grid. I'm going to come up here to where it says View, where it says Page Grid. I'm going to deselect that. Now, if you notice, there's space showing through these boxes in here. Because of the way vector graphics work in general, this isn't just an Inkscape problem, this happens in every vector application. You're going to notice these little gaps between the boxes here. Maybe it's not so apparent on my screen. If I were to make this page background a little darker, you'd probably see it. You can see more of those lines showing through between the boxes. The way that we remedy this is just by selecting everything and duplicating it. So let me select everything here. I actually want to select everything except for this large image in here, or this large object that I drew with the Bezier pen. So to deselect just that part, I'm going to hold Shift and click on that to deselect it. And now I should just have the boxes selected. And with the boxes selected, you can duplicate them by pressing Control D on the keyboard. And there you go. If you zoom out, those gaps should be gone. If they're not, you could just duplicate it one more time, and that should do the trick. And there you go. That is how you can fix that problem. And I think that should do it for this tutorial. That is how you can go about creating simple pixel art tracings over vector graphics using Inkscape. If you found this lesson useful, then consider checking out my Inkscape Masterclass. It's a collection of over 60 videos where I go over all of the tools and features in Inkscape, and I explain what they are and demonstrate how they work. Kind of like how I did in this video. We even have a private community where you can ask questions and get help from me anytime you want. And best of all, there's no monthly membership fees. You just pay $17 one time and you're in for life. I'll have some information about that down below if you want to check that out. As always, thanks for watching.